happy New Year, my friends. Oh, gosh, January 1st, 2019. I hope you're bringing it in with a bang. I hope you're having fun. I hope you had fun last night. I hope you're off to a great New Year. I hope all kinds of different things for you all. Man, can you believe it? 2019 already. It's always a good time. New Year's are always a good time. A little bit sad, maybe, nostalgic. Same to you, RJ. A little bit nostalgic, maybe. You look back on your last year and wonder, wow, how the heck did that go so fast? And the older you get, the faster it goes, and you reflect on the things you did and the things you didn't do and the things you're going to do. It's a fun time. It is a fun time. I'm not going to lie. I enjoy it. I appreciate it. I stayed up last night till like 12:20. It was crazy. That's like, I stayed up on Saturday night to watch a John Jones fight. And another after midnight. It's been a crazy couple days here in the Spaniard Show. We're staying up late. We're doing all kinds of crazy things, like staying up past midnight. All right, let's rock and roll today with AMXbooks 647. Or as my son would say, 647. All right, let's rock and roll. 1, 2, 3. Good morning, my friends, and welcome to the Spaniard Show. First and foremost, Happy New Year. Happy 2019, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. I was telling Facebook Live, this is a good time. It's a bit of a nostalgic time. You look back and you think, what have I done? Or, how was this past year? It went so fast. I'm getting a little bit older. It goes so fast. It keeps going faster and faster. But it's also a time for new beginnings. And whatever new beginning you're after, I have some things on my list. I have some areas of focus on my list, some resolutions this year that I'm going to accomplish. And I urge you to continue, stay the course, just don't stop, keep going. It's one of my favorite sayings ever. If I were to give you the most pertinent piece of information that I've learned in the last several years reading all kinds of books, it just might be, just don't stop, keep going. And that is by our friend Phil Nike. Let's dive into AMXbooks 647, studying the book Meat Eater. Let's talk about first deer rituals. We're going to talk about some rituals, and then we're going to talk about hard work today. So in the book, Rinella talks about first deer rituals. So you're a young boy, a young girl, you go out there, you get your first deer. There's some rituals. I feel like at our cabin, at our hunting cabin, I think when you missed a deer, you had to cut a little piece of fabric off the shirt you were wearing, and you had to hang it on the cabin. I think that was one of our rituals, our missing your deer rituals. But Rinella goes on to talk about the fact that first deer rituals often involve eating or drinking different parts of the animals. Now, that can make some of us go, oh, that's gross, that's disgusting. However, remember, these are rituals. When I love watching documentaries, whether it's Rinella's show, Meat Eater on Netflix, or there's all these other different documentaries that bring us into the lives, into the minds, the customs, the rituals, the traditions of different people across the world. You realize they do things that we would deem ew or weird, but it's part of their culture. It's part of where they come from, and it's really neat to dive into that, to hear, listen, and understand why. So Rinella's dad was big on eating deer hearts, okay? He liked to eat deer hearts. And like I said, it's kind of the stuff, some of the things that they eat or the way they prep it is stuff that you and I, and saying you and I, assuming that we're in our everyday lives in a town, in a city, etc., it might make us say, ugh, but oftentimes these parts of the deer, these organs of the animal are the most nutritious. I want to say the liver is one of the most nutritious organs, meats, that you can eat in an animal. Rinella says this, quote, when the heart came from my own first deer, the meal was treated with even more respect than usual. So this is a concept that a lot of non-hunters or a lot of people who don't go out in the woods and harvest these animals and eat these animals, something they can't understand is that, wait a minute, if you respect the animal, then why are you shooting the animal? If you respect the animal, then why are you eating the animal? And it reminded me of one of the things I dealt with as a fighter where people couldn't understand, wait a minute, if you're not mad at this person, how can you fight them? Or if you're not mad if you don't hate this person, if you're not angry, how can you actually fight? That's why it's important, I think, to dive into these books and read and listen and try to understand why and what they were talking about. Let's go to another quote. Quote, It wasn't until later that I would read how some indigenous hunters fed the hearts of their quarry to their young children so that the children would inherit the strengths and attributes of the animals they relied on. So it really is, if you find yourself confused, how could someone do this? How could someone hunt if they actually respect and love the animal? Consider that the idea that some of the indigenous hunters fed the hearts of their quarry to their young children so that the children would inherit the strengths and attributes of the animals they relied on. This brings about the bigger idea of being connected to the land and the animals. Remember, if you've been following AMX books for a long time, you know I like to read about Native Americans. And there's the Great Spirit is a belief that the Native Americans have. And one of the reasons they're so connected to the earth and to the animals is because they believe that there's a life force, right? The Great Spirit, the omnipresent force, that there's this connection in this life force. There's this energy that flows through all things, that we come from the land, we're part of the land, and we'll go back to the land. So it carries this idea of respect with it. Next two bullet points I want to talk about are that of hard work, and I stinking love it. It's January 1st, people. Get on the horse, get on the wagon, don't fall off, it's too early. There's a section in the book where in my notes here I have getting it done, exclamation point, work, exclamation point. So Rinella's dad had a rule after high school that, hey, if you're going to stay in the house, you got to be enrolled in school and you got to be getting good grades. So Rinella didn't want to have to pay for his rent, you know, because that was harder. That was the alternative, and that was harder. So he enrolled in a community college, and he worked to save money for his trapping career. Remember, he wanted to trap from a young age, just like his hero mountain men did. He said this, quote, he was enrolled in classes, and, quote, I had a job 6 nights a week from midnight to 3 a.m. cleaning a green bean processing plant. I'd come home and sleep until mid-morning, and then I'd go into the woods to cut firewood. If you want something, you've got to get it done. If you want something, you've got to find a way to get it done. Remember, success is negotiable. What do I mean by that? Well, Rinella, he wanted to become a trapper. He wanted to save money. He wanted to finance his trapping season. So it's negotiable. All right, this is the thing I want. What am I willing to give for it? Well, he's willing to enroll in a community college. He's willing to work one job until midnight, and then he's willing to come home and sleep and then get up and work another job and then go to class. It reminded me of grad school. It reminds me of college. Look, when you want to be a Division I All-American and you want to get straight A's, success is negotiable. When you're trying to get to the UFC, it's negotiable. It's not easy going to grad school, trying to travel and fight and keep up your grades while also getting punched in the face on a daily basis. It's not easy, but it is negotiable. So is 2019, my friends. Whatever you're putting out there into the ether, into the atmosphere that you want, understand. It's going to be hard. It's going to be work. And that's just the way it is. Ask yourself, how bad do you want it and why do you want it? Moving on to the next part, college. So I wanted to include this because I thought it was neat. It ties into the idea of hard work. It ties into the idea of sustenance. It ties into the idea of utility and function that we talk about here and there. We talked about the last couple of days. So Rinella's college experience was not your typical college experience. He joined his brothers up in the Upper Peninsula where they were going to college. He wanted to change the scenery. He went to the Upper Peninsula. And here's the thing. They hunted to eat. So how did... It's a really neat story. He tells it on podcasts often. But they hunted to live, right? They needed to eat. They were just like you and I were in college. They didn't have an abundance of money. They needed to eat, and they hunted to eat. Rinella talks about this experience. It was him and his brother and their buddy. He says, quote, my initial economically impoverished experiment with living off the land was like a form of shock therapy. And our appreciation for the species that sustained us blossomed into something that resembled religion. So they had to eat, they had to hunt to eat, and they developed an appreciation of the species that they were consuming. And that goes back to this idea that when you work for something, when you put your heart and your soul into something, you appreciate that thing so much more. Would it be nice to win $1 million, billion, zillion dollars in the lottery? Absolutely. But it would feel much, much better to earn it. And this is an opportunity today, January 1st, to start that process. So was yesterday, the 31st and the 30th, and tomorrow the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Stay the course, little by little, day to day. This has been AMX Books 647. Thank you, Rinella, for a tremendous book. Folks, if you'd like to help to support the Spaniard Show, you can do so at charliespaniard.com. You have my speaking programs, my book list, or you can go to patreon.com/Charlie Spaniard to support the show for as little as $1 a month. Happy New Year, my friends. Not gonna lie, I want to be sleeping, but I'm not gonna lie also. Now that I did that, it feels good. It feels good. 6:47. Reminder to everyone watching here on Facebook and YouTube to subscribe to the Spaniard Show on iTunes. Just search Spaniard Show on whatever podcast app you're using. And or you can check us out on YouTube at any time, youtube.com/Charlie Spaniard. Or if you're watching here live on Facebook, facebook.com/Charlie Spaniard. You're getting 7 brand new episodes a week, all based on lifelong learning. 4 different tracks. AMXbooks, Monday through Friday. AMX Kids on Tuesday, which will be coming out today at 4 p.m. AMX Talks on Thursdays. And AMX Weekly on Fridays, which is a weekly recap of what we learned. So hop on the learning bandwagon. Hop on the lifelong learning bandwagon, my friends. It's 2019. Let's get it done. See ya.